What's going on, my peoples? Welcome back to Onslaught Gaming 40K. And today we're going to talk about getting into the world of Warhammer 40K. Picking up your first army, or maybe getting into a new army. We're going to find out today. We're going to break them all down, every single faction, give you a small synopsis of what everything is all about here shortly. All right, stay tuned and locked in. My beautiful people.
What's up, everyone?
How you doing, brother? How you been, man? How's life been treating you, Mr. Regal, that still has opinions? Today, it's just you're going to learn from me.
Always have opinions.
Or you today.
I've been doing great. Other side. Remember, it's reversed.
I got you right here.
I've been doing good. Hope everyone's had a good 2 weeks. Still complaining about more DACA. It's fine.
I think everybody's kind of calmed down a little bit. I don't hear a lot of complaints and cries anymore. I've been telling people that I've been playing against it as well, and they're like, "Oh, I want to play against it." So,
yeah, because it's banned. No one's playing against it. I also want to play against it just to see if it's as bad, but that's either here nor there. See, Tom gets it. Tom understands.
Whoa.
But yeah, no, it's been good. I'm excited to be back. I'm always excited. Tuesday comes up. Yeah, it's showtime.
Yeah, I've had a good 2 weeks as well, man. Besides doing everything else, the other kind of World Eaters content and Orcs content, the band content that I put up for Orcs, everything has been good, man. Everything's been good in life. Had a GT a couple weeks ago, had an RTT last week. Not as many participants as I like, on the usual for me, but I still enjoyed it. I still love it. I love all the participants that came out and still enjoyed themselves and participated. So continuing on that, having RTT this coming Saturday. So everybody go check that out. If you're able to come, stop by. But Regal today has put together a wonderful, wonderful topic for us to talk about. Basically, we're going to get into talking about either collecting your new faction in Warhammer 40K or your first one, your very first one. So go ahead, give them your pleasantries before we get started if you like. If not, get right into it, brother. But I know the world of Warhammer 40K has been crazy for those of you who are just getting into it. Now, also, see, I opened the door for you and then I slammed it shut so I can continue.
Right.
That's how it goes. I had thoughts. I had to let the thoughts out.
Before
you ever see that comedy show? He's so high, right? That he says he has a Scully on, and if he takes it off, all his memories and thoughts are going to escape him.
I can buy it. I just wanted to mention for you and for the people, something also that happened since our last show. Crucible tickets have gone on sale, so people should start looking out for that.
Yes,
because those go by quick.
Indeed, and that's going to be a spectacular event at the end of the year. So,
one of the few Ox to be able to go to. So, I have a vested interest in this one.
I mean, it's our state GT, right? I mean, we can't miss out. We gotta go.
Yeah. Look, I wish I could go to more, but this is I made sure if it's only one, this is the one I'm going to. So,
and it's more than a Warhammer 40K event as well.
Well,
It's a spectacle. It's a convention. It's everything. It's got card games. It's got vendors. It's got everything you can think of.
Oh, it's wonderful. So I just wanted to mention that on the topic of GTs and RTTs. But yeah, no, we're gonna be going into a little bit of faction overview. We're not gonna get into detachments or myriads of play style. Just a broad umbrella of what to expect. Just going in, kind of surface level. Because there are 28 factions now with Emperor's Children, I believe.
There is roughly, yeah, it's like 29, 28. I mean,
Yeah.
if you include like agents, like you said, then yeah.
Yeah, so like we get up there. They're I have no idea what that means, Tom, and I'm afraid to ask for more clarification.
It's
he's talking about that's true.
Yeah. It's got me in a Speedo.
That's how he TOs the whole event, nothing but a Speedo. It's called a deterrent to call the TO over, so behave.
No shoes, Speedo, and a Scullion. So my thoughts and memories don't escape me.
just vaping the whole time. But getting into it, we're gonna figure a good place to start is the Imperium. It's the place a lot of people start with. Right. No, I didn't, but I'm a contrarian. I couldn't. But and to start, there's a good reason a lot of people start in the Imperium. It's because the poster army of this game is in the Imperium, and that is the humble Space Marines. Yeah, these guys, they're your generalist army. They're your, you buy them and you're playing what, 13 armies under them at this point. Like, you can do a lot. Yep. Big draws for them are, one, like they have build your own adventure lore with 2 missing Primarchs if you're into Crusade or Divergent chapters. If you're more of a hobbyist, they are fantastic models, lots of large flat areas, iconography. You can do literally whatever you want. And as for on the tabletop, actually playing the game, Oath of Moment is just a bread and butter rule to have. For those of you who don't know, at the start of every I believe it's their command phase, but it might be top of round. You pick one enemy unit, period, and everything you have gets full rerolls. Shooting, fight phase, Overwatch. You just get to, F that particular unit. Also, big draw for them, at least the general, the Codex, Astartes Codex, there was a Primarch. Rabute Gilliman is also, on your roster. So if you're big into epic heroes, he's not the only one, but kind of a big deal in those circles. So we will have the other Divergent chapters as their own thing because they are their own book. But yeah, you can play shooting, you can play melee, you can play fast, you can play slow and durable, vehicle heavy, infantry spam, hero hammer. The world is your oyster with this army, and for all the flack it gets, there's a reason it's the most popular by far.
Correct.
So,
and if you want to get even deeper, just a little segue, right? If you're into like vampires, werewolves, Vikings, if you like lizard, salamander types or robotic types, they basically have anything you could ever imagine for a Space Marine. So you have the ability to do something that you might be you might like aesthetically, right? Or have as a favorite, like if you're a werewolf type of person, you like werewolves, so you can pick the kind of the werewolf type of Space Marine army, things like that. So it's an opportunity for a lot of variety.
Yep. Birds, Mongol biker gangs, like it's whatever you want. It really is just an open canvas. But moving on, we have the Sisters of Battle, and oh boy, does this draw! I know people who aren't even into Warhammer who will be in the shop with me and just see these boxes alone and be like, "Huh, those look really cool." And yeah, first of all, their aesthetic is amazing. Like they are
nuns with guns.
Yes, they are
nuns with guns.
Very
absolutely
Catholic, Gothic inspired in their aesthetic.
Yes,
but they also have a very precise way of playing with their miracle dice. one of the few armies in the game you can just choose to not fail at something. It is
and
very
miracle
rare.
dice is an opportunity for you to manipulate the dice in the game, just so everyone's aware.
Yes, it is their army rule. It is called Acts of Faith, and you can perform miracles exactly when you need them. This is traditionally, balanced. Some melee options, 8th and 9th were Bloody Rose heavy, but in 10th they have been very shooting focused. Castigators, more Vinval, Meltas. Oh, also, do you like Burning the Heretic? I don't have this in the show notes, but my God, do they bring Flamers and Meltas like no one's business. Yes, fan of ours, Anime Squirrel Sisters would have been his starter army had they been available, but and as soon as they were available, my man went all in. But yeah, they are, and just as a side thing, they are an all-female faction, which probably should have been a point of interest in here. But yeah, they are females in power armor, so if that's what you're looking for, this is also where you want to go. And one last little side note, angels. Oh my God, so many angels. If you're into chicks with wings beating people to death, is where you want to go.
I agree.
Next up, we have the AdMech. You want to take this one, or?
Let's do it, rock and roll. So AdMech is all right. So if you're getting into AdMech, you're definitely going to have to go deep into your wallet, all right, or purse, or whichever one you have. All right. So let's start off there. I want to give you full experience and just words of success, right? I want to set you up for success here. But AdMech is more like a robotic steampunk type of army, all right? So it's a lot of humans. Aesthetically, how they look is a lot of humans that have robotic pieces, robotic legs, wings, things like that. They have this very Renaissance aesthetic look. Playing them, they're highly complex, so it takes just this game is easy to learn, but it's a lot more challenging to really learn this army in the game itself. So it's another challenge for this army as well. But it's definitely worth it. They're a very good army. You put it together, you practice enough, you could potentially do very well. Also high for potential player expression. So things like protocols, things like board control, and it has that particular play style as well. And I'm going off of the man's words over here, who kind of left some notes, and I appreciate that. But freestyling it, what I know of AdMech, right, is that they're a very shooty army. They're very fragile. You need a ton of the miniatures, and not to dissuade people to getting into the particular army, but there's a lot of miniatures, so there's going to require a lot of painting, right? Lore-wise, they have Call himself, who designs everything in the Imperium, right? So very cool to have them be like the designers of everything technological wise in the game itself, or for the Imperium itself. So very cool aesthetics, very robotic. They have these pieces that look like sand dunes and other ones that look like boats just floating on the sand. So check it out if AdMech or robotic styles is kind of leaning towards your aesthetic style.
And there's one other thing on the lore. These people are probably the most sane people in the setting. They seem hyper religious and, very stigmatic about their technology. But I just want to remind everyone, they live in a universe where demons are real, magic can open literal portals to hell, and no one knows exactly how a nuke works. So if they tell you stop touching it, we're not going to give it to you, it's because they've already lost half a city to the last guy who touched it. So, if you're in for pragmaticism, this is also the army for you. Oh boy. Next up is the Guard. You want to take this? You want me to? Because this is a fun one.
Do it, brother. Rock and roll. You got it.
So, this is your stock standard human. These are the people that, the aforementioned portals to hell and some of the other armies we'll get into including the Space Marines, which are human, but they are genetically enhanced super soldiers. Yeah, these guys are just like some dude ripped off a planet and thrown on a battlefield half a galaxy away in like 3 months. These guys are in way over their head. This is a horde army. It doesn't have to be. You can play mechanized heavy. You can just bring battle tanks, but traditionally you field like 30 to 70 bodies on an average guard list, and it can get well above that if you wanted to. That being said, they are a hold the line shooting army. They will blow you off the table. I have played guard many times, and I am constantly impressed that there's always more guns to fire. Like right now, have you ever been shot by a Rogo Dorn? They get to gun 6, and you're like, how much more is there? And there's always one more gun. Like I honestly think they have 7 guns now. It's insane. But yeah, this is just humans fighting the good fight. They are my favorite Imperial faction. I'm not going to play them. I don't want to do that to myself, but I can respect it. Also, they being the humans, they have like the special human units. They have the what are their names? The Scions, who are drop troopers, shock troopers. They also have really cool, unique units like Gaunt's Ghosts are very cool. Who can forget Sly Marbo as well?
They're like the special ops of the Green Beret, right? Spec ops of the military. So they look really cool.
And they also have, as we mentioned, tanks, Lehman Russes, all the way up to the vaunted Baneblade. And the last thing for their army rule is orders, which really it gives you that feeling of command. I believe it's even called like voice of command or something, where you can tell your squad shoot better, be faster, be braver, defend your position, and they give you the myriad of buffs for your unit to be just a little bit better than it looks like it should have been on paper. Yep. So this army is, I cannot stress how much of a shooting army this is. They will leaf blow you off the table. Imperial Knights. This is going to be a fast one. Have you seen the movie Pacific Rim? If you have, it's that. Going the opposite way of AdMech, this is also one of the cheaper armies to get because you don't need that many models. Nope. Knightless take an average of, it can be as small as 4, big knight chassis. But more commonly, it's 1 or 2 big knights with 4 to 6 of the armiger bodies. As you just noticed, those are all in the single digits. So this is a very hyper elite army. Probably the most elite army in the game. Yeah, and also, I mean, they're a big draw. Like, they don't have a Primarch or a faction leader, so to speak. But they do have Canis Rex, a named knight. And if you have not felt Canis Rex in a game, then you don't understand. That man will ruin whatever unit he looks at.
It will.
He has.
If you like big robots and you like scary guns, this is the army for you.
Yeah. Do you not care that Tank Shot got nerfed? Because this army doesn't. Also, super high toughness, super high OC. Like, toughest units in the game with the most OC on single models in the game. Other than their Chaos brethren, but we'll get to them later. All right, Mr. General, you're going to talk about the Grey Knights because I don't want to. I'm going to be honest with you. I have PTSD playing into this army.
I don't want to talk about Marines Imperium at all.
Look, we're getting this out of the way so we can move on to Chaos and Xenos, okay?
Exactly. Do the worst first. So Grey Knights is more of an elite Marines type of army. Aesthetically, they have this very religious. They have a lot of religious attire, insignias, things like that all over their vehicles. A lot of their lore and belief is also about a lot of religious war type of deals. So they like teleporting. So they, in game, they like the ability of being a very finesse type of Marine army that likes to go up and down. And what is up and down in 40K if you're brand new to the game is you have the ability to be removed from the tabletop and be replaced back on the tabletop, either on the same turn or a later turn. Predicated by the document itself, which is an ability that's on a data sheet. For those of you who are not aware, So you can change it up. You can have games where you don't go up and down, or you do go up and down, just to give you the ability to hold objectives and claim your victory. They're also a very shooty and tricksy type of army. They like to get a lot of small arms guns in their. They have what, purifiers, inceptors, or interceptors, or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Interceptors, because there's intercessors, inceptors, and intercessors, or something like that, or interceptors.
You're missing a big one.
Yeah. What's the other one?
The Dread Knight.
Oh no, we're gonna talk about that. But I'm saying the small arms, right?
Oh yeah,
it's from all of those infantry type models. Then we have also, like Thomas was saying, Regal was saying, that they have big stompy knights as well. They're kind of a medium size, not exactly what you would see in Imperial Knights, about half of the size of that. But they have these dudes inside this encaged armor, right? And they run around with all of this religious hatred and trying to purify all of the demons around the universe. And that's literally what they do. They're like the demon purifying army. So if you like purifying demons and just eradicating demons, almost kind of Constantine style.
Yeah, no, they're like you said, they're named like purifiers. They have a unit literally called paladins. You know, they are a very Templar-esque coded aesthetic, which we'll get. Don't worry, there's more of those coming. Also, another big draw for this is Khal Drogo. Khal Drogo.
Yep.
He's a unique character, Grandmaster of the Dread Knights, and he just enhances your teleporting ability. Also, a big thing about this army is they are tougher than your average Marine. They're just not by much for game balance, but they are a bit harder to take down, but a bit more elite. And yeah.
But not as elite as Custodes.
What up?
Which is the next one that we have. So Custodes are like the gods of Space Marines. They're the bigger brothers of Space Marines. These are more elite. They're more durable. They're more godly in the lore. They actually look down on Space Marines when it comes to the hierarchy, right? They have katas. I was just reading here. You says, do you like results? So
the whole army hits on twos.
Yes,
you just don't get better than that.
Yes.
You do not get better than hitting on twos in 40K.
Yep.
Yep. So
very efficient army, super elite. They're the golden boys, right? They're usually in gold. People changing up to have like platinum colors or black or purple. I've seen them all over the place, but they're an exciting army as well. Super elite, probably a maximum of 36 miniatures, if that. Would you agree?
Yeah. Also, the thing about them is there is almost ubiquitous 4-up invulns.
Yes.
For those of you who are unsure with that, an invulnerable save is a save that cannot be modified, and you will almost always get. If it is not a devastating wound, you get to at least make your 4-up save. The other thing about them is the katas. That makes them hyper flexible into every target in the game. If it's something tough that's hard to wound, they can get lethal hits to just force wounds through. And if they are outnumbered, which is not uncommon, because as Lewis said here, it's 35 to 40 models max, you can get sustained hits and really multiply those hitting on twos that you're putting out. So it's very efficient, very good, and very elite, but ready for every situation.
Just about, yep.
Next up, we have the Death Watch, which, almost true to lore, disappeared and then reappeared when no one was expecting them. So good for them. This is a Space Marine detachment of the Inquisition. For those of you who like the lore, they are the Ordo Xenos. The Ordo Hereticus has the Sisters of Battle, and God, I don't remember the last one because I don't do Imperium stuff that often. The Grey Knights are the Ordo for Chaos, whatever they're called. But this is the other Space Marines.
Malleus or something?
Yep, there you go, you got it. Death Watch specifically goes out and deals with Xenos, aliens, the better factions, to show bias. But these are Space Marines taken from various chapters and slammed together into what's called kill teams. And this is quite fun because you get a unique mixture. So instead of taking a unit of 5 or 10 heavy intercessors, you'll have 3 heavy intercessors, a Terminator, and 2 Inceptors. For an example, I don't know if that's just off the top of my head. I don't know specifically, but there are, I believe, 3 or 4 unique kill teams that you can field. Very similar to Grey Knights, these are also a teleporting shooty army. A lot of pick units up, bring them down for unique sight lines or various advantages. They also share the Oath of Moment that generic Space Marines get. So they too pick one unit and get full rerolls to hit against it until the start of the next round or turn. Grey Knights do get that. Their rule is the teleport. That is, no matter what detachment you pick, you always have the option to disappear and reappear from the board. So Death Watch can do that, but theirs is, I believe, stratagem or enhancement based, not the army rule. The next one's going to be quick. This is Imperial Agents.
Yes.
This is strictly a book to reinforce allying. I don't know who asked for this or why, but we got it. That being said, if you do play, Imperialis Fleet, because let's be real, that's what you're going to play, you have some of the most annoying tricks in this game. It is a horde army, almost exclusively made of infantrymen. I believe the only vehicles being sister vehicles that they borrow, because the Imperial Agents is what we said, the Ordo Malleus, Ordo Xenos, and Ordo Hereticus slammed together along with the Imperial Navy, which ferries all these factions around the galaxy to do what they got to do. So yeah, if you like that, I feel free to play them. But they really do just seem to kind of. Oh, also the assassins are here. That's very important to mention. This is where the assassins' home is. So your Calidus and all them find their home in this book as well.
Yeah, basically, if you want to play the highest political figure or the highest assassin figure, play this army right here. That's literally what it is, right? Like they have the highest political figures, big hierarchy type of miniatures, right? Assassins. Very elite units. They have a lot of efficiency and resiliency. Just like super powered humans with all types of psychic abilities and things like that. So,
yep. Oh, and
very
Inquisitors are here. That's a very big one for Imperium players.
Yes, it is. Another one. Brain bullets. They have brain bullets, dog.
I'm going to go ahead and let you take the next one. This is your baby.
Yeah, so Space Wolves. Space Wolves is part of the Space Marine Adeptus Astartes. Adeptus Astartes is basically these super engineered humans, 10, 12, 14, 16 feet tall, towering over regular foes, towering over most Xenos.
We're getting into Primarch territory, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, foe. Primarchs are like 24 feet tall. Yeah, Primarchs are ridiculous. But if you like werewolves, if you like Viking-themed armies, this is the army for you. Aesthetically, it's beautiful. A lot of wolf pelts, a lot of fangs, a lot of Viking, art, designs, insignia, things like that over their armor. They come from a planet called Fenris, which is half volcanic and half ice, which is always frozen. So very cool lore. They have that hero aspect where they all want to be the greatest warrior. They have this, they deal with talismans. They like to say they don't deal with magic. But we all know that's not true. It's magic. But they like to say it's rituals from talisman. They have rune priests, things like that. They rename all of the structures and hierarchy of all of their chapters. They don't necessarily follow what Space Marines are all about and all of their rules. They kind of like to do their own thing. And they're known as the Emperor's Executioners. So they are known previously in 30K, where they would go out and eradicate fallen Space Marine armies that have crossed over to the Chaos side. So absolutely amazing. I started playing this army. It was first army, so it's my day one baby army when I was around 10 years old. And I won't give you the math to tell you how old I am. But it was many decades ago. And absolutely exciting army. So if you like werewolves, you like Vikings, you like to fight in melee with axes, that's the army for you.
Yep, I was going to say, yeah, big draw for them is their unique weapon, which isn't super unique, but different is they use a lot of axes on their models. So if you're tired of swords and power hammers, this army gives you another choice. Also, dogs. They bring wolves into that, like not just pelts, like they're live wolves. They ride and run along beside them. So, always good. Next up, we have the Dark Angels, another Divergent Space Marine chapter. And this is kind of a 3-in-1 army. It's split between Inner Circle, Raven Wing, and Green Wing. Which basically means your Inner Circle is usually your Terminator and Terminator-esque equivalents. Raven Wing is your fast vehicles, bikes, flyers, skimmers. Green Wing is just everything else. It's just your generic stuff that's just in their army.
That's just funny, I gotta say.
Oh, well, Space Marines can't get drunk because they auto-filter toxins, and Space Wolves couldn't have that. So,
exactly.
Fun little lore blurb there. But the Dark Angels are a very secretive and paranoid faction. That's kind of they're right. Hence the whole Inner Circle. They're the only things that the most trusted members can know. Also, similar to generic Space Marines, but more specific to them only, they also have their Primarch back. So again, if you like the hero-iest of heroes, you don't get much higher than that. Lionel Johnson, also a beautiful model. As far as Space Marines go, I will admit these are some of my favorite looking because a lot of them, particularly the Inner Circle ones, Inner Circle companions, some of the characters, and Deathwing Knights, just covered in robes. They're like Space Marine armor, but also robes. I don't know the actual logistics of that in universe, but looking at it looks great.
You know what I'm curious to ask you, Regal?
What?
Do you know if they have any genos of any particular type of animal or background, like the vampires, the werewolves? Do you know if they have anything like that?
No, they don't.
They don't. They're just super secretive.
Well, no, their interesting thing is they're one of the most different from their Primarch. Because Lionel Johnson wasn't paranoid and secretive, and he has actually he told people how it was with very little concern for social acumen. That was kind of his defining trait, is he was hard to get along with because he told you how it was, regardless of the tact that might have been necessary.
Yep.
So they've actually diverged quite a bit in their universe of 40K paranoia. But no, these are the knightly order. That's part of their parent. They value honor. They value, their pride, which is where their secrecy comes from, because some of their chapter fell to chaos, and to them that's unacceptable. And if anyone else found out, they'd surely all be put to death or excommunicated or something. So this, in theory, interesting lore there. GW takes some creative decisions with it, I'll say, but they got their Primarch back. Also, these are honka tough Marines. They are. Playstyle wise, they are a bit of a mixed bag. Usually a bit more shooty and stoic, but they have the melee punch. Deathwing Knights can take a hit and will give it right back to you. Also, Inner Circle companions with Justiciars are just rude with heroic intervention. This army, very much if you like the robe aesthetic, you like the secrecy and thinking other people are hiding stuff out on you that you deserve to know, all yours, man.
But the next one is not like that. The next one has no fear.
Well, they have some fear, and it gets color coded, red and black. Go ahead. You took the werewolves, take the vampires. Go ahead.
Gotta take the vampires. So, Blood Angels. Blood Angels is another fascinating kind of this fantasy world. You pick them, you take these vampires, put them, put their genes inside human beings, and you get these blood rage human beings that are just trying to control this bloodthirst that they have inside, right? So unlike the werewolves are more so trying to keep the rage under control and the anger, where vampires are trying to keep in the bloodthirsty rage, right? So they don't want to just go out and start killing an entire planet and draining them dry, bone dry. So that's what Blood Angels is all about. They're more so about fighting, aerial assault, things like that. So they want to get in there fast. They want to punch you. They want to have special abilities. They do have a fair amount of shooting, just like all Space Marines do, because they share, most of them share all of the weaponry and technology alike. So Blood Angels have different units as well. They have Death Company units, which have succumbed to the Black Rage, which makes them a lot more thirstier for blood, makes them a lot more crazier, and a lot crazier in combat as well. So it shows in the game mechanics when it comes to Death Company. Not so much nowadays, as they've taken out a lot of the strength from the army from that. But you do have very strong vampire captains. You do also have the ability to take sanguinary units. They're called Sanguinary Guard. So basically the guards of all of the champions of that particular chapter of Blood Angels. They also have a fantastic character, one of my favorite lore characters in all of Warhammer 40K. His name is Mephiston. Mephiston is this super old, it's like Dracula. He is the Dracula of Blood Angels, right? He is the historian. He knows all the background. He knows all the information, the lore of all of Blood Angels and things like that. And he just passes it down throughout all of the new breeds that come out for Blood Angels. So Blood Angels are what you would consider a very strong, pretty elite if you take them in Death Company, things like that. Fast melee, hard hitting with hammers and things like that. So precision, just like a vampire would be.
Also, just on that note of precision,
anime vampires, yes.
They also have a character called the Sanguinor, who will, both in lore and in the game, will come in and wreck whoever is trying to defeat the Blood Angels. Again, they have very gorgeous, and the thing about, they have the noble beauty of vampires, so their kits look very good. And to Anime Scrawl's comment, they do have that like unnatural beauty look to them, despite trying to hide the monster within. Also, quick lore blurb about Mephiston. He told Commando to shove it while Commando was literally trying to invade Ball and make everyone succumb to the Black Raid. So, pop that guy. Told a greater demon to shove it to his face. That was as the Great Rift was opening, mind you. So, like, that was no small feat. But
badass man right there. Mephiston's a badass man.
Next up, we have probably the community's favorite army, our Imperium army to meme on, well, other than Admech, the Black Templars. Oh boy, do you like religious zeal and crusading? Do you wish it was the 1300s and you could go crusading across to the Holy City? This is your army. They are very much like sisters, want to burn and purge and crusade for the Emperor.
Yep.
Very similar to the Space Wolves, they do not obey the Codex Astartes because the 1,000 members per chapter is excused if you're crusading, and these guys are always on crusade. All the time, every day. Doesn't matter. Playstyle-wise, they are very melee-focused. There have been multiple iterations of tricky maneuvers to get into combat without getting shot, and fast melee. The Black Tide existed for a bit, where it was just like 100 Space Marine bodies with a 5-up involt and a 5-up Fatal Pain. Their big claim to fame is they take unique vows before every battle, so you can kind of, pick what's best for you to get advantage in that particular fight. And because they are Adeptus Astartes, I believe they also keep the Oath of Moment. So that also just has not gone anywhere for these guys. But yeah, they are typically, black armor. They have the silver cross on them. And they are just all about doing the Holy Emperor's business, which I believe marks them as one of the only Space Marine chapters that also reveres the Emperor as a god. Which most Space Marine chapters don't do. These guys will burn you for saying he's not. Space Marine or otherwise.
Indeed. And aesthetically, miniature-wise, Black Templar for Space Marines probably has the most beautiful line, most updated beautiful line. Space Wolves is coming out with a new beautiful line. Blood Angels, subpar. I wish they would have done them a better justice. Blood Angels should be an aesthetically looking beautiful army, but they kind of missed the mark on that one, man, entirely. And then Dark Angels as well are aesthetically beautiful. So,
But with that, I believe we are done with the Imperium.
Yes, and with that, we're going to jump into a quick commercial break. We're going to pay the bills, and we'll be right back. All right, everyone? So give us 1 second. Continue to watch, and we'll be back in 1 minute. Now with a word from our sponsor, Baron of Dice. Baron of Dice is your one-stop shop for premium wargaming dice. Our dice are made with premium resin materials and colored dyes. Each die is hand-mixed to the desired result and then carefully swirled with 2, 3, or 4 colors in a silicone mold before being laser engraved with a wicked symbol and finished in a matte or gloss polish. There are no imperfections in our dice, no balancing issues, no micro bubbles or mold lines. This is the difference between. You can, quite literally, feel and hear a difference with our dice. Whatever game you play, whatever style your team or faction rocks, we're sure to have something to elevate your game. With over 500 styles and over 4,000 customer reviews, welcome to the best dice on the planet. Now back to our show. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in that advertisement. Make sure to go check them out. Baron of Dice is absolutely amazing product. Always sponsoring just about every single GT, if not every GT that I'm a part of. That includes Grand Onslaught 9, coming up Grand Onslaught 10, Crucible, Rubicon GT3 in June. Come check us out. Come get some free swag. Come have a great weekend and play 5 rounds of Warhammer 40K.
Heck yeah.
Well, now on to the beautiful, beautiful armies.
Yeah, starting with Xenos. And you know, you can go ahead and take this one. You got some passion here.
Where's my passion at? Is it misled passion?
Nope.
I do. All right. So I do have some Eldar love. It was actually one of my beginner armies, not my first, but one of my beginner armies. But in particular, there are different detachments in the Eldar book, right? There is one that's very close to me. They're called Harlequins. Now we're not gonna do a deep dive, but because I'm biased on this one, I'm just gonna try to sell you on why Harlequins is the one to go into for this. All right.
This is why I passed everything up.
Exactly. So Kegara is like this mysterious figure that controls everything, right? He's the laughing god. And the Harlequins praise the laughing god, hold all of the Black Fortress's secrets, everything that's happening in the universe of Warhammer 40K. So with this god, they're always praising this god, but they're also protecting the Black Fortress, right? Which holds all the information and secrets about the universe. And in this information, it talks about how, why chaos started, the Imperiums, all the secrets in the world. Game-wise, these Harlequins are like Harley Quinn from Batman or something like that. They have these diamond patterns. They look very jestery, right? Like a clown or a jester or something like that, but more with a murderous clown ninja complex. They're very, very angry individuals. They're elves, but very, very angry, and play the game with finesse and dancing. So everything to them is a choreographed dance. And they go through battle, literally dancing and murdering their opponents. But Eldar as a whole is just elves. So if you ever watched like Lord of the Rings, movies like that, they just have elves in it, right? They're just elves, so they're more of a finesse, very precise. Um, they're a glass rocket, not a glass hammer. They're more of a precision, death by 1,000 cuts. They definitely have the speed. They're probably the fastest army in the game. If you want to include Yunari, they are definitely the fastest. Yunari being another detachment is actually called the devoted of Yanid. But with that being said, they are super fast, super agile, but they're fragile as well. They have a lot of great technology, a lot of hovering type of vehicles that look like birds or just these blades, right? They look like weapons most of the time. Fantastic army to play with, and I think that's about. I think that breaks down Eldar and a basis.
The only thing the only things I have to add with them is, as you said, they are not only are they fast, they are the masters of movement. They have more ways to move better than every army in the game. So even if you can make some unit theoretically go more inches than an Eldar unit, they can reactive move. They can move after you shoot them. They can move if you get close to them. They are the undisputed masters of positioning currently in 40K, and that's usually their stick for as long as I've been playing, and even what I've heard before that. They have always been, because they're so squishy, their defense is always positioning and repositioning as needed. So if you're very into that, very into, now you see me, now I don't kind of play style, you don't get much better at that than you do with the Craft World Eldar specifically. Because there is another kind of Eldar that is a whole different codex, and that is the Dark Eldar. Yes. For those of you who have ever played D&D, these are the Drow, your fantasy Dark Elves. This is Warhammer 40K, so scale up all the atrocities of Dark Elves accordingly. We're not going to go into it because we like to be monetized. But just as a light joke, they'll turn you into a chair. Not a dead chair. You'll be alive and living. And they can extend your life to make you basically immortal. That's just a prank. That's not even going to do much for them. So these are the pre-fall Eldar. A big lore thing for the Eldar is they are a dying race trying to come back in the galaxy they are once the masters of, because they just went a little bit too hard with the partying and may or may not have spawned the fourth Chaos God completely on their own. So, these guys are the ones that said, not really our problem. We'll just make it everyone else's problem and keep the party going. That's the Dark Eldar. They are somehow even more fragile than your regular Eldar, but they also tend to bring more transports. They do the shell game, which
it's all the leather they wear. That's why it's too much leather.
that's the one that do wear leather. They are very dependent on transports. You will see them with their various boats, from the massive Tantalus to the skimming Venoms. This is also very similar to the Craft Worlders. This is another 3-in-1 army, although it is not as divergent as Harlequin, Yunari, and Eldar. You have your witch cults, which are traditionally female gladiators, except instead of fighting each other or alliance, they're bringing Tyranid hive tyrants into the middle of a coliseum for no protection for the audience. The audience is regularly dying in these events. Just these people are unhinged. You have your homunculuses, the people who will turn you into a chair and keep you alive, and also bring back some of the Dark Eldar who die through even more unspeakable means. And then you have the Cabals, which is just straight up mafia. It's just gang warfare with elves. That being said, they have some of the coolest looking units. If you like the, for lack of a better term, edgy aesthetic, spikes, whips, chains,
leather,
ridiculously long blades. You're gonna like them. You're gonna like the Cabalite warriors, the Archon, the succubuses. If you like body horror, boy oh boy, are Racks and homunculuses right up your alley. So these guys are for the edgy, Pain Lord-ish aesthetic. And
they definitely listen to death metal.
Also, just a big thing for them, their army rule is pain tokens. They are exactly what they sound like, and they can generate them by doing more pain, and depending on the unit having pain cost to them, and use them to make them better. Reroll advances, reroll charges, and most importantly, reroll all hits on a given unit. So, and if I have not driven it home enough, one of their units is literally called the Talos Pain Engine.
Yes.
It is just what they are, dark elves through and through. That being said, Lilith Hesperex is a gorgeous model. It got updated a few years ago and it looks great. So, but with that, we are firmly out of the elves because they slammed Harlequins into Eldar. Coming up next, we have the Necrons. And boy howdy, going from Eldar to Necron is quite the jump. Do you want to be responsible for everything that's wrong in the galaxy ever? Well, you can't, because that's the old one's problem. Because they were mean to this army. Yep, nope, the bias is here.
Yep.
If they would have just cured cancer, 40K would not be what it is now. So the Necrons are Egyptian aesthetic space Terminators. So if any of that is what you like these guys. They have some gorgeous centerpiece models. You know, their faction leader, the Silent King, is a massive 3-model unit by himself. Is absolutely gorgeous. You have the various Catan. The Void Dragon just got updated. And there are rumors, nothing solid, but rumors that the Nightbringer is going to be updated here soon as well. So we'll see about that. But still, so you have these great centerpiece things, and the big thing for the Necron, their army rule is reanimation protocols, which, yeah, if they get wounded, as long as the unit isn't outright destroyed, they just do recover. Usually it's, a wound or D3 wounds, but there are many, many ways to make that better. And, I've seen it. People have taken a 20-man break of Necron Warriors, the basic troop unit, got it down to 3 or 4, thought they were good, and by the time their next turn came around, there's 17 of them again.
Yep.
And they're like, what did I even do? That's nothing to say of those Catan I talked about. Take half damage and still heal. The Silent King, his 2 Minears can die, but can be healed back. They are not particularly fast or known for their speed, but they are hyper resilient. You have to kill them to a man, or the damage you did will very likely not matter.
Yep.
For an example, a Doomsday Arc. You might not kill it, but bracket it, like, oh, it's -1 to hit, I don't care. Their turn, they heal it up. In the movement phase, they heal it up again. Yes, they can do that. And there are multiple ways to heal it up to 2 or 3 more times before they get to shoot. And suddenly, not only is it not bracketed, it's back at full health again. So, if you like durability, if you like,
the T800 from Terminator,
yeah, or the Egyptian aesthetic, these guys are for you. And also, they are mostly a shooting army. They do have melee units, but primarily they just bring world-ending guns. Go back about 2 months and just YouTube Star Shatter Assault, and you'll see what I mean. But yeah, those are Necrons. They're great. They are my 3rd army, technically. But yeah, they've never done anything wrong. I don't want to hear it.
And if you don't start off with talking about this army without starting off with this, whoa, then you're doing it wrong.
Yep.
Then you're doing it wrong. All right. So orcs, for those of you who are newer to the game, right? Orcs are the fun bashing jokesters that really don't have a lot of screws left up top, right? They are these green plants that are fungus.
Just real quick.
Go ahead.
On this note, they, in lore, because they've been dissected, have no organs.
No organs.
There is no brain. Like, he's not kidding. Because, yes, they are fungus. Like, I didn't know if you, but yeah, there is nothing in there. Anyways, fungus, you go.
Literally nothing like me upstairs. Wow, yes, indeed. Yes, Wabond. But orcs are just a fun, go-lucky army. If they believe that it's going to hit you with the bullet, it's going to hit you with the bullet. If it believes that some airplane, a bunch of scraps, literally no engine, no nothing, just put together is going to fly, it is going to fly. Okay? They just believe and it happens. Matter of fact, the Inquisition and the Imperial Guard have all picked up and reclaimed all of their weapons on the battlefield after a battle, right? After war. Try to reuse them and can't figure out how to operate their machinery at all whatsoever. It only operates because they believe in it. But they're all about smashing. If they were smart enough and they all got together like a herd of cats, they would take over the entire 40K universe. Were you going to say something, brother?
Well, real quick, if that happened, we'd have Quarks again. That's a whole nother problem. A Quark, for those of you who don't know, is basically every orc as strong as a Primarch. Every single one. So that's a problem. But no, what I was going to say about the fun thing about the Imperium and technology, these Death Watch, Grey Knights, Terminators, all these things that teleport, that's orc tech that the Imperium stole. Orcs are canonically the first ones to, well, not first because Necrons had Dolmen Gates, but that's not teleporting, that's something else. But yeah, orcs are the ones who the Imperium has all their teleportation tech from. So every time someone teleports, tell them to make sure they thank an orc for it.
Yeah, they think about teleporting and they teleport. And sometimes it goes wrong and their brains burst.
That's how a shock attack gun works. They teleport rocks to the inside of whoever they're aiming at.
Yeah. They use
I'm a tank.
forces. We don't even know how. We don't know how.
So this power of belief, and this is why you said the orcs have the funnest lore, best lore. It's true. Their lore is, even with my faction, but orcs have the best lore in all of 40K. There was a very real story in the Black Library you can go read where guardsmen ran out of bullets. Sorry, not guardsmen, space marines. Ran out of bullets and had to kill a charging orcs that were coming at them. They didn't pull out their combat knives. They didn't beat them with the guns. They pointed their guns and started yelling bang as they were shooting the orcs. Yes. And the orcs started dying despite no bullets being fired because they believed they were being shot at. This is not a Deus Ex Machina. This works both ways, and it is just great.
Amazing. Gotta love orcs, man. So if you want a fun time, you want to be in a club with a bunch of cool people who are not douchebags, orcs is it.
Also, this is the first army we're getting to. This is kind of a theme or kind of a playstyle. Orcs are very inconsistent. A lot of their rules, as Lewis said, is luck based. That they're not a luck based army, but their shooting units generally hit on 5s and 6s, with the most elite shooters hitting on 4s. Their melee is not the best, but there is a large quantity of it, and usually either has ways to get lethal or sustained hits to pump that number up. So neither you nor your opponent, very low accurately, can never predict what's going to happen. I have seen a beast boss fail to kill a single gene stealer. I've seen him rip down an entire exocrine in one activation.
Yep.
You don't know, and the dice are going to go away. So you're just along for the ride.
They're fantastic, yeah.
Also, they are a horde army. They have, I believe,
Moolah.
I believe they have the second largest singular, because Space Marines are like 17 armies in a trench coat. But I believe the only single army that has more units and models to collect than them is Eldar.
Correct.
But orcs are a massive range, which is also good. You will never get bored, and you can have, I'm going to try and name them all, but you're the expert here. You can have boy horde spam. You can have elite spam with mega knobs and knobs. You can have vehicle spam with planes, buggies, trucks,
battle wagons.
So you can mix and match. You can have, it's not uncommon to see, 5 or 6 infantry units with 5 or 6 trucks on the board. So they are a massive range that can do a little bit of everything and are just a good time all around. I've never had a bad match into an orc player.
They love to crump. They love crumping.
Absolutely. Going on further, we have Votan, one of the newer kids on the scene. These are, we've had space elves, we've had space orcs, we are now at space dwarves.
Yeah.
And their lore is, do you like super capitalism? Because well, they make a profit. They are merchants and miners and traders. That is kind of their whole shtick. Not for any sake of, propagating their own empire or anything, but simply because they're all clones of clones of clones of clones of clones that are just being remade and remixed together. And yes, Tom, that is true. From a hobbying standpoint, orcs are the easiest and most fun army to kit bash. So let your imagination can run wild, and not only will no one question it, it's also very lore accurate.
Yes.
I actually have we both have a mutual friend who is making orc knights.
Yes.
So, and it is coming along. Every one he makes is a masterpiece.
And I've seen the Waffle House, and he comes from the chapter House of Waffles.
But
a Waffle House orc knight. It's ridiculous. It's funny.
So the Leagues of Votan are they are traders. They have done notable things such as gone extinct because Tyranid High Fleet ate them. Turns out that was just Expeditionary Force. Traded with the Tau to give them their plasma weapons. Poor Tau can't even get a win in the lore. And also habitate near the black hole in the center of the galaxy. So, traditional dwarves, their mechanic is grudge tokens because you've offended them, and that's a grudge. It makes them better at redeeming that grudge in a war game. That means killing you. And also, they, as of right now, upon their release in 9th edition, they have been very shooty focused so far. They have, I believe, a grand total of 2 dedicated melee units, a melee berserker dwarf-esque unit, and a berserker character to lead them or be by himself. Other than that, it is a lot of guns and, quite honestly, some of the coolest named weapons on the entire game. I don't remember them by heart, but just go look at what's on a land fortress or some of the units are holding. They have gravity weapons and all conversion beamers. It's incredible. Yeah. So these are your dwarves. These are your grudges. They have a very precise style of play because to start the game, you directly control who gets grudge tokens, and then throughout it, the way you play can kind of pigeonhole your opponent into forcing grudges onto various units that they need to activate or use. So, if that's your thing, also their whole range is brand new. They came out in 9th edition. They all look great. Some fantastic sculpts. Particularly they wear a lot of trench coats too. Don't know why they picked that aesthetic, but I'm not complaining. They're the Hearthkin Pioneers on the bikes with the trench coat blowing in the wind. Fantastic model.
It makes them look slimmer and taller.
They should make a model that's just 2 of them in one long trench coat.
Yes.
Just double the OC, double the wounds, double the attacks. If you kill them, you get 2 grudge tokens.
That's the 8-bound equivalent for Votan.
So next up, we have the Tau.
Yeah, you want me to take that one? You want me to take this one so you can take your 2 loves right afterwards?
Yeah, I'll make one comment, then it's all yours. If you pick this faction, I'm so sorry. You're the community's punching bag. I know why. I wasn't around for the reputation Tau got when they got this, but man, has it stuck around for 10 years.
They're they're the laughing stock. Not because they just got chosen to be the laughing stock because they're cowfish. We don't know what they are. They look like cows and fish. So Tau is a very Gundam-like army. Absolutely amazing battle suits if you want to do an entire Gundam style Voltron, just not to date myself here, but Voltron. What was another one that was previous, like Power Rangers, right? Didn't they have something similar to that?
Oh yeah, they have the Zords. Now, to be clear, they don't join together, but the idea is piloted mecha to fight battles with.
It's just the mecha robot style, right? The whole Gundam feel. That's what Tau is about. They have these little aliens that are manning these powerful super suits, running around with these highly advanced, high-strength weapons. Very, very high strength. I think they were one of the first to have some of the best technology. I think Votan was first, and then Tau or Votan got it, or Tau got it from Votan.
Yeah, it was Tau, then Votan came in, and that's why I said Port Tau. Even the lore get kicked to the side, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they're very heavily shooty army. They don't have any dedicated Tau fish cow type of units that do melee. Now they have this enslaved race that they have that are called Kroot, and they're kind of monstrous, right? Hey, that's what it is in the lore, right?
The Kroot are actually their allies because the Tau saved their world from a Tyranid High Fleet.
Yeah, that's why I gave the quotations. That's why I gave the quotations. Yeah, friends, enslaved. Yeah.
So along with, I didn't mention it for Votan, but Votan and Tau, they are one of the few true sci-fi factions in this game. There is no magic in these two factions. No psychers.
Vespid, however.
So if you like Anime Scroll's been saying, rail guns, pulse weapons, plasma weapons, which they're not Doug, what are they called? They're not plasma. They're called something else because plasma's what the Imperium has and it blows up on them all the time. Tau have better plasma called something else. But
Ion plasma?
Ion, yeah. They also have plasma rifles, but it's Ion.
Yeah.
But this is to use a more modern thing, because I don't know how many let's be real, we all know what Gundam is. But like Warframe or Mech Warrior, very in that aesthetic. Like some of the suits aren't much bigger than a Space Marine.
Is it though? It's Tau. Is it though?
Technically.
Shout out the VTS5. Yeah, I know. But that's not their style, right? Like that's not what they do fully encompass.
The other big thing for Tau is they are shooting focused. It is guns down range.
100%.
That is seen as their main superpower. I personally disagree. I think the Tau's biggest focus is actually their movement shenanigans, because while not having as many as the Eldar, they do have quite a bit of fire and fades, shoot and scoot. They have a few other things they can do as well. Many ways to advance and shoot, or come in early from reserves or closer than they should, or leave the board. So, also, rail cannons were some of the funniest weapons in the game when they were introduced.
Yes.
They just pointed at something and said, "You better hope I don't hit you."
Yes.
It's like, how do I live that? I miss. Oh, what do you hit on? 2s rolling 1s.
Yeah.
Enjoy your 3% chance of survival. So they were fantastic. I'm a big fan of rail cannons in any medium, and I think more Tau players should run them personally. They're terrifying.
They're beautiful. That whole army is beautiful.
Yes.
Like Tau is a beautiful army with all the suits. I mean, if I could do like a whole Riptide, all that type of army, and it would be efficient, I'd do it.
I'm sorry. Are you coming here on this peaceful podcast and asking for the return of the Riptide Wing? Yes. You would put that evil on the community?
Yes, because I would play it.
Right. Guys, just like 3 Riptides and 40 shield drones, and that's a balance list.
According to the community, I created more DACA, so why not?
Look. We all know it wasn't you. You wouldn't make shooting orcs. You'd make bully boys go back to what it was.
I'd make every melee unit super efficient, and they can all jump out of their trucks after it is moved and advanced.
Oh, yeah. Reverse the bully boy rules. Mega Knobs come down by 10 points. Every truck gets assault ramp.
Yes,
Done.
assault ramps every truck. Every single truck. Yep.
Yes, and Anime Scroll. That's in 9th edition when the rail cannons did like 12 damage flat plus like D6 mortal wounds or something. It ignored invulns, and it was like AP5 base. So you're a 2-up custodian. Just take 12 wounds.
Yeah, D weapons. You remember D weapons? Those were fun. Don't take a save. Just remove model from table.
Yep. Yep. But that's Tau. Their big thing, their big army rule is the guiding mechanic, which kind of encapsulates their philosophy of it's called the greater good, where everyone works together for the betterment of the society, not the individual.
That's
which
right.
in play, it's this very annoying rule. I don't even play them, and I find it egregious. Where to shoot something and use this rule, 2 things have to see it, and then 1 thing tells the other one there he is, and then he gets a +1 ballistic skill, which is quite the buff. There are very few ways to modify the flat stat, so it's great, but you're now putting 2 things in the enemy line of fire to get it. So, so that's Tau. Next up, we have the Gene Stealer cults.
Yes.
I've had quite a journey with it. I hated them when they first came out because I'm like, why are you humanizing the Tyranids? And then I had someone explain it to me that it's not GW making Tyranids human, it's Tyranids Cthulhu culting humans, and then I was in. I'm like, oh no, all right, cool. So they are what they sound like. They are cults. They are, the trampled upon, usually the destitute, the worker class, and even like slave classes on some planets. In the name, they come from Gene Stealers and Tyranids. Don't worry, we're going to get to them. And they are very much a mixed arms approach. You have a healthy amount of melee and shooting, as well as vehicle support, either that be in transports or for long-range firepower. They are probably the most tricksy army in the game to play, with many movement shenanigans, abilities to buff their survivability or damage output, and debuff your ability to hurt them back or damage them back when you do get to. And their main trick is their resurrection mechanic, where before it was random, and now it is a number of points that as they play the game, the Gene Stealer cult can decide what units reinforce their army. And this is to simulate the unending mass that, because they are, these cults are generations in the making. These don't pop up in, a year or two. These are like 100, 150 years of like generation upon generation of cult members. Their aesthetic is very Mad Max-esque, very Wasteland Warrior type, with a lot of, conventional tools as weapons. Most famously the stop sign. Remember when a stop sign aberrant could just dome a knight?
Yep.
No longer, but you get stop sign, a metal bar with cement like ripped out of the sidewalk, crowbars, hand saws, mining drills. So very much the the working man revolting kind of thing. And their playstyle with all this said is much more control. They're not likely to table you. They do not withstand an assault well. They die, hence the resurrection mechanic, to always have more reinforcements on the battlefield. So they're not durable. They're not hyper lethal, though they can kill you what they need to kill. But they're very good at controlling the board, controlling where you can and can't go, pinpointing 1 or 2 units and saying those are going to die. And being, just more annoying to kill than you want.
Yep. So,
because depending on how they spend their points, they can kill half your army, and you got to kill their army 2.5 times to actually feel like you did anything. So, that's Gene Stealer cults. Also, they are probably the second most expensive army behind AdMech to collect, because they are a horde army, and some of their models are very cheap points-wise, so you need a lot to fill them. You can build them kind of elite with aberrants and trucks and stuff, but most lists you're going to be paying a pretty penny, and like the AdMech, spending a lot of time painting, because that Mad Max aesthetic comes with a lot of, hazard tape and stop signs, metal, leather, guns, grenades, various other capes, bandanas. So it's quite a bit. Moving on to the star gods themselves of the Gene Stealer cults, the Tyranids. I'm gonna make it brief. I told Lewis here to keep me on a 2-minute timer, so we're not gonna. These are your true aliens. For as much as we've covered Xenos, space orcs, space elves, dark elves, dwarves. These are your non-human shaped, because even the Tau are bipedal human shaped. Tyranids are not. There is nothing human about these. These are very much bug reptile aesthetic. Very, they have chitin, and they are a completely biological race. They are grown and evolved in real time by the hive mind. They are a mixed arms army, using every tool at their disposal, their movement, their shooting, their melee, to get what they need to get done. You will be shot by an Exocrine, charged by a Gene Stealer, and move blocked by Gaunts or Gargoyles, while Lone Op Lictors stay just outside your range to retaliate. Their army rule is Shadow in the Warp and Synapse, which both affect you negatively morale-wise, reflected as battle shock tests, and make them more resilient to battle shock tests themselves. Their morale is much harder to break, as well as while they're in Synapse being led by their leader beasts, they are also hit harder in melee. So they are very much also a board control army, but like orcs are very inconsistent. You do not have a lot of rerolls. You do not have many things with, prime stats. You're a lot of medium level toughness, usually ranging from T4 to T6. Only 2 things in the army have T11. So, not a lot of high toughness stuff, not a lot of invulns going around. But yeah, this is also another army, much like AdMech, that the more you put into it, the more it will give back to you, because its greatest thing is that it plays like no other army in the game. There is no other army that you can play like you play tier. Like, you can take Space Marine playstyle and carry it over to Sisters, for example, or Chaos Space Marines, who we're going to get to next, and there's some analog transition. Tyranids do not have that. Yep. So they are, if you want the alien experience, also Xenomorphs, very big. Xenomorphs and Zerg were Xenomorphs were the inspiration, and Zerg were a spin-off of Tyranids from a game that GW dropped and Blizzard picked up. So if you like those, you will like the Tyranids. Also, they have some of the best artists in the community that paint these things. I'm so jealous.
They're beautiful. They always look beautiful. Yep.
With that, we are done with the Xenos, and we are on to the last super faction, so to speak, in the game, which is Chaos. And we are starting with the Chaos Space Marines, the Dark Mirror to the Imperium Space Marines. You want to cover this one? I just did like 2 in a row.
So this is like the evil boys of the entire Warhammer 40K. All right. So these are the ones that have fallen. Warhammer 40K is based on closely related religious topics. Okay. And Chaos is like the fallen portion of them. They are what you would consider demonic or possessed or entrenched with some type of bizarre curse or gift, they might call it, right? But they have dark pacts, all right? What this army does is they have these dark pacts and these abilities where they can commit self-harm in order to do things. Now, they'll try to do something, and sometimes they'll commit self-harm, and it's based on a dice roll. They are all over the place, just like Space Marines, because they have come from the Space Marine background and genes, where they share the same type of power armor. Some of them are a little bit more resilient than others. They have melee-focused armies. They also have the ability to summon greater demons and lesser demons as well on the tabletop to kind of ally with them to play the game with them as well. So there, you'll see a lot of opportunities where people will take possessed models, or they'll take Mauler Fiends and Forge Fiends in their Chaos Space Marine army. They also have a lot of things that are very similar to what Space Marines have. So they'll have Land Raiders just like Space Marines have, but the Chaos flavored version for whatever particular detachment they have, right? Now they're usually melee focused, but they do have shooting as well because they're kin to Space Marines. So they're going to have guns as well, not as many and not the same type of specialist type units, but they have a plethora for sure. And that's Chaos Knights. They're basically the antithesis of Marines, just regular Space Marines. And then we also have Chaos Knights. So Chaos Knights is the equivalent. So now that we're talking equivalents and comparisons, right? Chaos Knights are what Imperial Knights are. They're the big stompy robots, but they're the evil kind, right? And who doesn't like the evil kind of robots? They're more efficient, less durable than Imperial Knights. They're usually hyper elite as them, the same as them as well. They have more tricks. No Canis, but they have these smaller, what they call war dogs, and they're basically close combat based. They want to get in there, hit you with their melta gun, fight you. They have carnivores as well that are very efficient in close combat. I want to say they're 3 damage flat. They usually have 5 to 6 attacks on a charge. Very, very strong little units. And also, I know we mentioned it before, but for those of you who are just newer to Warhammer 40K, OC is the objective control of a singular model in this game, and that gives them the ability to control objective markers in this game. Well, in Chaos Knights, the baby knights have an objective control of 8, which domestically, a very battle line more so tuned into holding objectives is usually 2. These individual ones are 8 each. All right. So very, very strong. It gives them the ability to actually hold objectives throughout the game and actually play the game. And they're just the evil version of Stompy robots. So if you like Stompy robots but evil, this is the army for you. And of course, I'm going to open the door for the man to talk about his baby army, his second, third, whatever it might be. But
real quick on the Chaos Knights. For those of you wondering, should I play, if I want to play Big Knights, should I do the Chaos, should I do the Imperial? The big difference between the two is Imperial Knights are a bit more defensive with a little worse off stats. They hit on 3s and 4s rather than 2s and 3s that the Chaos Knights do. But they usually get a feel no pain on their 14 and 24 to 26 wound models, whereas the Chaos Knights don't. They can with an enhancement, but again, that's an attachment specific. But they hit on, the shooting knights hit on 2s and shooting 3s in melee, and the melee knights are reverse that. So that if you want just more all-out offense, Chaos Knights. If you want a bit more balance and longevity, Imperial Knights is usually the split. Also, aesthetic-wise, these guys are just covered in skulls and spikes. Well, the Imperial Knights are usually noble.
How dare you?
Hey, it's me.
I know.
Well, you want to look. But yeah, onto Chaos Demons, and boy, has this an army. So much like the dwarves we were talking about, this is actually just 4 armies wearing a trench coat. You have in each fourth of the army, you want to quarter it up, one of those graphs. You have your melee focus, you have your speed, you have your durability, and you have your shooting / tricks. Corn demons are generally very melee oriented. I have a buddy who's been really hammering in on his corn demons, and let me tell you, even if they just graze you, you're gonna feel it. It hurts. You get hit with Scarborough, I failed 2 saves, and he's like, yeah, it's 12 damage, 6 each. Flat 6 each. Every time he hits you. Strength 16. Good luck.
Which normally in this game, for those of you who are newer, right? Elite units are 2 damage. This guy is 6.
Yeah, like champion heroes might hit 3 sometimes.
Yeah, might hit 3.
Yeah. So, and Strength 16, you are firmly in knight territory. That is that Canis's glove is strength 20. So yeah, this they hurt. As Enemy Scroll said, Nurgle is, he's called Grandpa Nurgle. He just wants to give you his gift. His gift is the Black Plague and polio, but it's a gift. It's rude not to accept it. But yeah, his units are very tough. Like their battle line is T5. I should also mention the big draw for demons is every unit has an invuln, ranging from a 6-up on the weaker, more quote unquote expendable units to 4-up invulns, and sometimes once per game 3-up invulns on key units. But they have traditionally very bad armor saves but a constant invuln to make up for it.
Yep.
Much like Tyranids, they also have very unique rules given the way the army's built. For example, horrors. Pink and blue horrors split when you kill them but don't wipe the unit. So you kill a pink horror, your opponent rolls a dice, and oops, he rolled a 4, 5, or 6. There are now 2 blue horrors where that 1 pink horror was. If you don't kill all 10 in one go, you might actually have more than you started with. Yeah, Slaanesh is very fast. She's taking a bit of a beating, but it's okay. She's into that. She's the god of excess and perfection. Khorne is the god of murder, but also honorable combat. Nurgle is the god of entropy, decay, but also the cycle of life. And Tzeentch is the god of magic, scheming, and ambition. Because 40k is the hellscape that it is, it's only their negative attributes that are magnified. But, for example, Scarbrand, the aforementioned 6 damage demon, is exiled because he hit Khorne in the back because he thought he should take Khorne's place. Yep. Khorne wasn't mad that he attacked it. He actually respected. He's like, you know what? That big balls. It's the fact that you hit me when I was turned away from you that I can't deal with. And so he literally threw him across time and space. So, and then some of the models are just so out there. Like Khorne is very much your Dante's Inferno red demon aesthetic. Nurgle is very much your bloated, swollen, pustule corpse aesthetic. Tzeentch is... Do you like birds and stingrays, I guess? Like,
Birds in Egyptian style, man.
Tzeentch is the bringer of change, so he doesn't really have one. Like, each unit is flamers, don't look like horrors, don't look like the greater demons, don't look like the chariot. It's all different, which is good. It is what his whole thing. And Slaanesh is excess and perfection, which in this game means fiends get 6 titties. So... it is what in crab claws because everything must evolve into crab.
Everything.
A bit of a disclaimer: demons are a bit in the rumor mill of being nixed and just kind of a supplement to Chaos Space Marines and the specific God legions, which we're about to get to. But that is a rumor. We don't know. As of right now, they are still a legal army. Also, Big Boy Bellicor exists, and boy howdy, is he have fun lore. And is a fantastic first model I ever hand painted, and I actually did a good job on. So, very, very close place in my heart about him. Next up, we have the Emperor's Children, the newest and final Legion army. If you hear that, we're talking about these 4 because they are Chaos Space Marines, but rather than generic Chaos Space Marines, these ones are dedicated to one of the 4 gods, and Emperor's Children is Slaanesh. To start things off, they have a Primarch now. Not out for release yet, but he exists in the rules, so he's gonna. And he's
Saturday.
His model. Saturday. Are you fucking kidding?
Yes, this Saturday. Great timing, right?
Easter. Anyways, sorry. We're gonna. I wasn't aware of this, folks. You just saw in real time my live reaction. Yeah, they have their Primarch. Fulgrim, for those of you keeping count, that means that we're going through 4 legions who I said all have their Primarchs. That is 4 Chaos Primarchs. So how many does the Imperium have?
2.
Sucks to be them, man. Nerds. But yes, Fulgrim is back in a beautiful centerpiece model. The entire Emperor's Children range just got updated, I believe. I think like everything short of a Rhino and their demon princes got full re-updates and look gorgeous. And And yeah, this is very much a fast shooting army with some ability for combat, but also very lore accurately demanding perfect play. The way their rule works is they can all fall back and shoot at any time, but they cannot shoot at the thing they fell back from or charge it or something someone else has already shot at, because they want to taste a new experience. They don't want to have what they've already had once.
Exactly.
So it can be played around. You can shoot them first, and then things that didn't advance or fall back and shoot or charge can then double up into them. It's just if you met that first clause, you cannot do it anymore.
Even though swingers would be a thing they're probably into, but they don't like to share.
Well, they don't. Well, no, they can share. They just don't want to have what they've had already.
Exactly. Oh, they don't want seconds. Got it.
Yeah, they want something new. Yes. This is a very high skill expression army. If you've been in the community at all, you've seen people, oh, this is too strong, this is overpowered, how can they do this? So now being like, whoa, where's the power? Buff them, they don't do anything. There are some people doing very mean things with this army because they understand the sequencing and have the skill to really push the rules to their limit, which again is very Slaneshi. So that is the Emperor's Children. And like I know you're tired. I'll handle the next one. It probably means nothing to you.
Get out of here! Because if you like to burn, maim, and kill, if you have road rage, if you just finished taking a roid shot, this is the army for you. World eaters, baby. Blood for the blood god. So World Eaters is Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, but in corn flavor. All right. So they're Space Marines that are extra angry. They're extra pissed. Somebody shitted in their Cheerios Saturday morning, so they're
no Cheerios. They, the
cornflakes. Sorry, my bad. The cornflakes, and they're very fun. They're very fast. They want to get in melee very, very quick. Do they have the opportunity to be a slightly shooty army? Absolutely. If you take the big old Corn Lord of Skull, it's a massive miniature. It's a demon engine, a literal demon engine. It fires 10 foot. I don't even know the size of it, but it's got to be 10 foot tall skulls, and it just hurls it at you. It's literally called the Skull Hurler. Absolutely fun army to play with. Super elite. They have a lot of abilities to kind of pick from their god what they want to do throughout the game. So at the beginning of the battle round or at the beginning of the game, they have what they call a blood tracker. It's a blessing tracker where they have their corn blessings ability where they get throughout every single battle round, and you play 5 battle rounds, so you can change them every single battle round, do something different, or keep the same ones, and you get 2 options. So they give you the ability to fight back after death. They give the ability to have +2 movement. They give you the ability to advance and charge, which innately most, if not all, models in this game do not have that. There are particular units that do, but you can select that in this army. They are fuel rage, war rage. That's what their literal lore is all about. Korn himself is the war master. Almost, if you look at it like the 4 horsemen, here he would be the horseman of war. And Angron himself would be kind of more so than Korn. But they have this Spartan fighting in Spartan arenas background. So they were definitely enslaved. So I know I don't got that wrong. But and Angron was, and they would put all of these warriors in arenas to fight to the death. And basically that's their style. Their gladiator style is what World Eaters is all about. So they like to fight, get in melee, and be very, very elite. And they all wear red.
And they also have a Primarch.
And they also have a Primarch named Angron, which I was gingerly talking about. But he is a very, very angry man. He is one of the 4 Primarch for the Chaos side, and he is all about fighting as well.
He will flip 2 Land Raiders and not even blink.
Yep.
He will mess you up.
Yep.
Going on to our second to last one, we have the Thousand Suns. You know, as far from corn as you can get. Yeah, exactly. This is Zinch's army. You know, Mr. Bird, Crab, Stingray Man.
Exactly.
These are
Egyptian.
Yeah, very, very Egyptian aesthetic. Their Primarch is Magnus the Red, who has rainbow bird wings like a peacock. All the Primarch models are just gorgeous. They all look great. Full disclosure, I don't play in these armies, but I'm going to be collecting all 4 of them and doing a 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse diorama because I hate myself. But this is the Psychic army. Are you a nerd? Do you want to tell other people that being a nerd is cool? This is the army for you. They have Cabal points, affectionately referred to as Monopoly money by Thousand Suns players, because every time your turn starts or you pass go, you get your full amounts again. And this army is just psychic powers to your opponent isn't alive anymore. It can do very mean things such as bypass saves through a myriad of ways. Not as potent, but at one point they just said if you don't get an armor save. So if you didn't have an invul and you just didn't get a save, all their damage went through. Watching 5 Rubric Marines just kill a Rhino because they got 10 wounds was hilarious. Wasn't me. I don't play with rhinos, but I don't play that army. But it, I'm sure it was frustrating for the player who it happened to. They have a bunch of shenanigans. They have rich Cabal powers, Doom Bolts being one of the most famous. Where they can just, decide that character loses existing privileges by throwing, a soul blast at them. They can double up on any of these rituals. They can double move in the shooting phase, so they might be able to move once, not advance, just move Magnus, 12 inches, because why not? And then in the movement phase, move him 12 more, and he's still able to shoot and not declare a charge, but he can still shoot you. They do a unholy amount of devastating wounds at the moment. Their codex is coming, I should say. The Emperor's Children Codex was already kind of released and coming out for general release here soon. I assume tomorrow as well. But the World Eaters, Thousand Suns, and Death Guard are slated for sometime in the summer to get their full codex. These are all still indexes at the moment, so there is only 2 detachments for most of them other than Emperor's Children. And right now, the Thousand Suns attachment, main one, is dev wounds from all their psychic weapons. Yep. Similar to Space Wolves, ironically, being their most hated foe in the lore, they are also very hero hammer heavy. Aside from Magnus, they like having their characters. Ahriman is a staple. As well as the first captain of the Thousand Suns in the lore, as well as various sorcerers to fuel the Cabal points, because Cabal points come from the characters and squad sergeants. Hence why most armies you see is 3 to 4 Rubric Marine squads, a character for each of them, Magnus, and then some amount of Spawn and or Goatmen. I forget their name at the moment, and Mutilith Beasts. So also they can be very durable. They have many ways to either just blank saves or reduce damage by 1 on Magnus himself. This is for you if you like. And in the lore, I'd made the nerd joke, but they are very much about gathering knowledge. Ahriman, for example, is currently trying to find his way into the Black Library of the Harlequins, because he thinks that the answers for what he's looking for, which is to revert the rubric, is in there. Now, Kegarak and the Harlequins aren't big fans of this, but they love watching him try. So
they're all about magic.
Yes, and they are also a more elite army. As I said, I didn't say that for the Emperor's Children because they can be built as kind of a respectable force, but World Eaters and Thousand Suns both lean towards more eliteness due to the quality of the units they bring. Exalted 8-bound, all the characters in Thousand Suns. There just aren't enough points left for, a battlefield full of bodies. But going into the last one, that is weirdly not the case for some reason. I don't know why. We have the Death Guard, who this is Nurgles, and as we said, he is slow and steady. Resilient, tough, can take a hit, and is going to weaken you as he gets closer. And boy, howdy do the Death Guard do that. Death Guard, they also have their Primarch, Mortarion, Mothman himself. Well, not super impressive on his own. He probably has the best singular Primarch aura. In my opinion, it is. And some people would say Magnus is. Angron, his best one is give 4 rerolls to hit within 6 inches. Magnus's most common one is +1 to hit and wound for all psychic weapons, which is pretty much every character's weapons in that army, including his own. And Mortarion's best aura, which I think is better than both of those, is ignore all modifiers. That means you cannot make anything within 6 inches of him -1 to hit. You cannot reduce their armor save. You cannot reduce their OC. Even if they're battle shocked, they keep their OC characteristic. Which is why I think if this pushes that over the edge, because one of the big benefits to battle shocking people is you don't get to score points or do actions because you're OC 0, and they say, well, actually, I'm not. So, very strong on him. Death Guard themselves, their army rule is their contagions. They're always on contagion is -1 toughness. It goes from 3, 6 to 9 inches over the course of the battle from every Death Guard keyword model they have. They can take other what is it? Not Plague Bearers, which I believe don't get the aura, but all of their Marines and most of their vehicles do. And even vehicles like the Hellbrute can shoot the aura to you. So even if you think you're going to stay back and not have that, he can still send it to you in a volley.
Yep.
They can be elite. You can build them, very vehicle heavy. They can take the what do they call the indirect guns? The big tanks. Plague Burst crawlers.
Plague Burst crawlers, yep.
As well as the ones with the meltas, the
Blight haulers.
Yes, blight haulers. Flesh mower drones. Or the most common archetype right now is Mortarion, 18 Death Shroud, and that's not even 1,000 points. How you get 3 units of 6 Terminators with a Primarch and that not be half your army, I'll never know. But good for Death Guard. Also, Death Guard are tougher than every other Marine, so they are 1 toughness higher. So their Terminators are they're like Custodians. The Terminators are T6, the base Plague Marines are T5 rather than T4 and T5. That being said, they are just a myriad of debuffs to you. You will not play their main detachment they use right now. Either worsens your save by 1, or like on Orcs is devastating because Orcs are just T5 and T6 across the board.
Yep.
Worsen your to hit by 1. So good hitting armies like Custodes and Chaos Knights, and even like some Marine chapters, some like Deathwing Knights. Suddenly you're hitting on 3s, and you're not used to that because that might, on the face of it, you might look at it like a 17% decrease. It's actually a 33% decrease, like statistically, of how that works, and it is crushing when you're not expecting it. So yeah, this is your slow, steady, resilient. They can also reduce your movement speed. They have psychic powers too, and one of the most common ones is they look at someone and say -2 to charge, -2 to advance. Or sorry, -2 to your movement characteristic, -2 to advance rolls. I had a Genestealer unit that would have gone 16 inches, go like 12. And my 6-inch charge was going to be a 10, and I'm like, this is awful. I don't want to do this anymore. So yeah, their whole game plan is be tougher than you expect, and make you worse at interacting with them than you want to be.
Yep.
Also, they have a gross. If you're into that like cadaver, like bloated, putrid aesthetic, these guys are for you. They are here to spread Grandpa Nurgle's sickness. Oh, I'm sorry. One last thing about their contagion that is very important. Because they're so slow, they can't really turn around and cover their flanks. They're kind of, once they're in a spot, they're dedicated to it. Their contagions also give them a sticky objective automatically. A very rare rule that usually you have to either pay a stratagem for, or like Chaos Knights can get it with an enhancement. Their whole army just has it. They hold an objective for 1 command phase. It's theirs until you go back and take it. But doing so, even if you take it, that objective is permanently contaminated, so you're -1 toughness to take it back. So it's just this constant attrition of being debuffed, and yeah. And that's all the armies and kind of a general overview of their lore and how they play and what they do.
Yeah, if you ever watched the Seven Sins, they are putrid or glutton. Sorry, glutton.
Yeah,
they are glutton. They are essentially that.
It's funny you say there used to be a funny rule with the. Do you remember the infinite plague bearer horde?
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, there used to be a rule in 8th edition on plague bearers where when they killed something, a model, not a unit, it had a chance to rise up as a zombie, had a chance to rise up as a plague bearer, and there was no cap on it. So you could put a unit of 20 plague bearers into 20 guardsmen and walk away with a 40-man unit of plague bearers.
Yeah.
And you might think, wow, that sounds overpowered. GW surely did something about that, and they did.
Sold a lot of miniatures.
9 months later. This was legal for a while. So,
sold a lot of miniatures.
That's yeah, so my next army, honestly, is probably going to be just Primarchs. I'm probably not doing a whole army because I'm too in love with my bugs. I am not someone to jump around. Like, I have 6,000-ish points of Necrons and almost 3,000 points of Demons and roughly 2,400 points of GSC right now, unbuilt. That's okay. I'm going to go and buy Fulgrim because I have high intelligence and low wisdom. I know my stats. But yeah, hopefully this helped anyone watching, kind of if they weren't sure about an army or what it did or how it played, or it's just overwhelmed by the information dump that learning of this lore in factions is. Hopefully this helped you out, streamline the process.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate you for putting this together as well, man. And thank you to everyone who participated and watched the show to the very end. As always, hopefully you find your own faction if you're getting into Warhammer 40K. Hopefully you find the army you want to start off with. I have one pro tip. Just pick up whatever you think aesthetically looks beautiful, right? Start off with that and then delve into the game a little bit further later on. But start with that. Start with that. Pick something that you're gonna have fun with. You're gonna enjoy looking at throughout all these games, these practices. And for those of you who are just jumping on to the new bandwagon, stay tuned for World Eaters. World Eaters are going to be very good. Death Guard is coming out. Emperor's Children is going to be good. Go ahead, brother.
I have a question for you specifically. Question burning in all of our minds. Are these new Space Wolf cakes going to be the thing that makes you go back to the Imperium?
No. I'll purchase it. I'll purchase it because I'm going to buy it all. But am I going to play it if they have a trash codex like they've always had and they get away from the lore of Space Wolves, the whole Viking werewolf theme? Yeah, I'm not going to play it.
Fair enough.
And honestly, I want them to get rid of Thunderwolf Cavalry.
I think they should be 3-man units. I think they should be like bike squads and be up to be 3-man units, personally. Keep them as tough as they are, but make them 3-mans. Also, to answer your question,
just because they're baby Marines, I don't want to see baby Marines anymore. I want to see a new unit or take them away.
Yeah, hopefully the new like veteran unit that has the wolves with them takes over for Thunderwolf Cav.
The head takers,
the Primaris, like they're too big to ride, so they hunt with them.
Yep.
Real quick to answer your question, the next army I will start is actually going to be GSC. I'm going to start that. I will be building that as my next dedicated army project because I can get behind playing some Final Day. Because you're telling me I can bring in all my lictors and gargoyles anyway into GSC? That's like half my list I'm running right now. Why not?
Yep. Why not? And they're aesthetically a beautiful army too. GSC is a beautiful army. Oh,
they so are. Especially at the end of every battle, my turn to just eat the GSC guys and go on to the next planet anyway. Nom nom the biomass.
Biomass, feed. That's fuel for aliens. There you go.
Also, just real quick, off my 2 minutes. If you're a big fan of like Dead Space or The Flood, play Tyranids. You won't be disappointed. But that's all I got. You got any last minute pitches for your Harlequins or World Eaters?
That's it. Nothing else. Play what you want to play. Enjoy. Let us know how you feel about getting into 40K, your new faction. and leave us a comment down below. Hopefully, we were able to help you out.
Yep.
Take care, everyone. Have a great night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Peace. We're out of here. To the next one, 2 weeks.